December 25, 2017. President Donald Trump last month bashed a plan that would keep NFL teams in the locker room during the national anthem, saying it is almost as bad as kneeling. Trump has also criticized free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who launched the wave of protests during the anthem last season when he kneeled to protest police brutality against African Americans and other issues, on multiple occasions, and made claims that players who protest during the anthem should be suspended or released. Several players and coaches reacted strongly to Trump on social media, and players, joined by coaches and owners, in some instances, across their league, knelt, locked arms, raised their fists, and even refused to come out of the locker room during the national anthem in Week 3. There have been several more protests since previous protests this season. By Week 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Preseason. Here are the players who protested in Week 16. Most recent updates first. Oakland Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch remained seated during the national anthem before the Raiders game against the Eagles on Monday night. He has remained seated during the national anthem all season, though he stood for the Mexican national anthem last month in the Raiders game in Mexico City. Lynch has not said why he has remained seated during the national anthem. He wore a t-shirt before the team's Week 4 game that read, "Everybody vs. Trump." Paul Gutierrez, Seattle Seahawks. Several members of the defensive line again sat during the anthem before Sunday's game at Dallas. Nazar Jones, Sheldon Richardson, Dion Jordan, Jaron Reed, Cliff Avril, Michael Bennett, Marcus Smith, Quinton Jefferson, Frank Clark, and Brandon Jackson. Linebacker Paul Dawson also sat. Left tackle Wayne Brown again took a knee next to the group, while center Justin Britt held his hand on Brown's shoulder in support. Brady Henderson, New York Giants. Defensive end Olivier Vernon continued to kneel for the national anthem, which he has done since early this season. Jordan Raanan, San Francisco 49ers. Like last week, 4 players, safety Eric Reed, linebacker Eli Harold, and receivers Marquise Goodwin and Louis Murphy, knelt in protest of racial inequality during the national anthem before Sunday's game against Jacksonville. Safety Adrian Colbert stood next to the quartet as a show of support. Nick Wagoner, Kansas City Chiefs. Cornerback Marcus Peters came out of the tunnel after the national anthem was over before the Chiefs game against the Dolphins on Sunday. This was the 7th game in a row he had done this, though he was suspended in Week 14. Peters had previously sat on a bench on the sideline for the anthem this season. Adam Tyker, Miami Dolphins. Wide receiver Kenny Stills and safety Michael Thomas, who is inactive, took a knee on the field during the national anthem before the Dolphins game against the Chiefs. Tight end Julius Thomas, who has joined Stills and Thomas in kneeling for the anthem this season, is on injured reserve. The trio previously stayed in the locker room for the anthem against the Jets in Week 7, but they have knelt the past few weeks. Dolphins coach Adam Gase had established a team rule requiring players to either stand for the anthem or stay in the tunnel, but Gase recently told players that if they wanted to come out and kneel, they could do it and they won't be punished for it. James Walker, New Orleans Saints. Most of the Saints players briefly kneeled in unity before the national anthem against the Falcons, as they have done in their past 11 games. They then all stood during the anthem, with some players and coaches locking arms. Mike Triplett, Los Angeles Chargers. Left tackle Russell Okung stood with the rest of his teammates during the national anthem before Saturday's game against the Chiefs, raising his right fist for the 5th straight week. Okung was not active and was in street clothes for the first time this year. Okung said earlier this year that despite an agreement in principle between the NFL and the Players Coalition to address criminal justice reform, he will continue to protest during the national anthem on game days. He attended a meeting in October with NFL owners and Commissioner Roger Goodell to discuss how the league would handle anthem protests. Earlier this season, Okung wrote an open letter to other NFL players on the Players Tribune, with the goal of overcoming uncharted territory by opening a line of communication and responding with one voice as players. Eric D.